Hello Instagram Live, hello YouTube. I am actually double filming this today. Make sure I've got my camera all positioned correctly here. Hello, I am really excited to dive on in today. This is the first day of a month-long live coaching and Q&A series here on Instagram. We are diving into your powerhouse era, and I just realized that I have my camera on my phone turned the other way. So if you are asking questions live, I will probably flip it around mid-live and make sure I'm addressing your questions because this is a live Q&A. And additionally, I will respond to these. If you drop any questions, I will make sure I've got them before I end the live, and I will respond to them in stories. You may even get a response from me on my email newsletter. Let me make sure my camera's angled here correctly. Okay. Perfectly imperfect. But I wanted to dive into today's kickoff of this series to kind of do a deep dive today and talking further about understanding one of the biggest shifts that allows you to go from expert or just content creator and niched brand to personal brand powerhouse, to having an expansive personal brand, to being able to profit from multi-passions, have different varying income streams, monetizing your brand, and not only those expanded income streams and opportunities from your brand, but also really seeing yourself differently, stepping into your own wealthy brand movement, creating your own movement through social media, one that grows itself, building your community, your following, growing your brand, obviously. And maybe even for you, it looks like stepping into a new era of thought leadership. And so anyways, I'm super excited to talk a little bit today about the first biggest shift to stepping into your personal brand powerhouse era is to stop building and selling from survival mode and start to build and sell from identity and what that shift really looks like. So before I dive on any further, I actually break all of this down, the shift, what it means, the identity shift, the becoming, the embodiment, and the strategic shifts to becoming a personal brand powerhouse through my free 3-day email series called Shift. So I'm giving you a strategic, educational, and inspirational 3-day email series with audio activations and lessons. So you can immediately sign up for that in my bio on my email list. Join the Wealthy Visionary email newsletter list if you haven't already. And if you are new here, hello, my name is Kait Visser, and I am a business coach and mentor of 7 years. This is my 7th year this November, and I've been an entrepreneur for 10 years. I've had different businesses before this. I was originally, way back in the day, a graphic designer, then was thankfully and sadly at the time laid off from my job, and it kind of sparked my whole entrepreneurial path, becoming a online content creator. At the time, I was vegan Kait. I was really obsessed with personal development and health and wellness. Then it turned into fitness coaching, and then I didn't just want to sell someone's fitness product. I wanted to really fulfill my own potential and create my own brand. It's almost like I was trying to create a personal brand powerhouse even back then. And so I created my first coaching offer, started my coaching business in the end of 2018, and I've been doing it ever since. And my business has gone through so many eras and transformations itself, and I really feel like this era that I'm entering into is not only just like direct result from my experience and my growth as an entrepreneur, as a business coach and mentor who's been in the game and who stayed in the game and who has learned to evolve and grow with industry, with social media and myself. But I really feel like I am stepping into a new era of my own emotional and business leadership and finding a way to make business sustainable for me as someone who is very creative, multi-passionate, visionary, and has ADHD, but who also has a big plan and vision for growth, for impact, for influence. And I am teaching everything around Personal Brand Powerhouse, becoming that, because it's directly from an identity shift that I have experienced myself. So this is all inspired from my brand new program that's coming out this month, Personal Brand Powerhouse, which allows you to have this identity shift and then figure out how to put all the pieces together for the strategic shift in your content, in your brand positioning, in your messaging, in your offers, bringing everything through with really positioning your brand authentically, finding cohesion through multi-passions and visionary ideas, and really stepping into your personal brand powerhouse era so you can be growing your brand, increasing your visibility, feeling more confident, knowing who you are in your brand and how to position yourself authentically, and then knowing how to embody your authentic personal brand character and persona and vision through everything that you do, your messaging, your content, your offers, building everything brand forward. And so that's a great segue into today's topic, talking about building everything brand forward and not just out of survival mode. So I'm going to pause just really quick and make sure that there are no like Q&A questions really quick. I should have thought of this better. ADHD. Okay. Let me just see if y'all are dropping live questions. Okay. We're good. Okay. So, anywho, I'm really excited about today's topic because again, this comes from my own shift and my own journey. I didn't just one day wake up and go, I want to teach people how to become a powerhouse. Woo, what a cute idea. No, like I really transformed a lot in my business the past few years, and I feel like I should share a little bit of that because it is very powerful. But first, coffee. Drop a comment if you are a fellow coffee lover. One of my jobs along my entrepreneurial journey while I was figuring out what the hell I wanted to do after I was laid off from my design job, like what was that, 8 or 9 years ago, was I became a barista. So I love coffee. I'd love to have my own coffee shop someday. Anyways, so a couple of years ago, I want to share kind of how I started to recognize how I was creating out of survival mode and how I started to get out of that and start to recognize that not only did I need a rebrand, honey, I needed a whole energetic and identity makeover. And that's a really big point of recognition, realizing that like a version of you has died and you are ready not only for a new level in your business and your life, but you're ready for a new you. Or not even a total new you, an elevated you, an expanded you, a healed version that is now grounded and embodied on a whole new level. So a couple years ago, it was in like 2022, I had reached 6 figures in sales in my business, and over a couple of years, I didn't just like pop out of the industry immediately making $100,000 a year or $1 million like some people do. I was trying to find myself, grow sustainably, and I was getting really great results, and my clients were getting great results, and I was happy with my business, but I wanted to grow and I wanted more. And so once I finally reached multiple 6 figures in sales, I realized that the brand identity and the containers that I had built weren't necessarily going to get me to $1 million in sales. I was niching myself well in an expert brand as a coach. I was mastering my expertise, but I still felt burnt out and unfulfilled, or more so burnt out because I was unfulfilled, not necessarily because I couldn't work hard. I'm a very hard worker. I'm a very resilient person. I'm very dedicated, and I'm sure if you are a visionary and ambitious entrepreneur, you are too. You're not afraid of putting in the work. You just don't want to feel like you're wasting your time or feel like you are acting out of alignment with your vision or yourself, or building just by your clients' needs and not fulfilling your own vision or potential, right? And I think that's where a lot of burnout comes from. It's not always just working hard, it's lack of satisfaction, lack of joy, lack of growth, and not being able to give back to yourself, right? And so I was finding myself in that space. I had invested in a mastermind. It was one of the highest ticket investments I had made in my business, and I hired like one of the multi-million-dollar mentors, and it was really expansive. But yet I realized once I went all in on selling like crazy and like creating a buying frenzy in my business, which I did, in that space, I was like, oh, I actually don't want to keep going with how things are positioned. I feel like I'm made for more. I feel like I don't want to just talk about how to create better content, how to sell. I really feel like I'm called to be more. I'm called to do more. And so at the time I was like, I'm more creative. I'm multi-passionate. But I also was struggling in that expansive and sales season to feel like I was an authority or feel like I could find my own unique angle of how I was an authority and how I could have leadership in my own industry. I didn't feel like everybody else. So I actually went for many years in my business with undiagnosed ADHD, which was a huge reason why I struggled for a long time and why I rebranded and completely rebuilt my business for the past few years to be more sustainable for me. And so having undiagnosed ADHD and the wounds from that, the trauma from that, feeling like you're too much, feeling like you're too creative, and then building a business that did well, and you feel like you're now like kind of trapped in, and it's very like people pleasing, it can be something that's profitable and even scalable, but it kind of becomes your own prison. So scalability in your business is not just about your strategies or your business model. It's about who you are, who you feel like you can be, or who you're becoming. And I saw that my business could become more, my sales could become more, but I didn't see my becoming in that. I didn't feel like I could become more. And so that's where I realized something's not right. I didn't feel energetically like I could grow with my business, so I needed to rebrand. Some things needed to change. So in the very end of 2022, starting in 2023, I started a rebrand process. And for the first time in years, I felt a sense of relief and freedom that I didn't even think I would feel. I closed down all of my offers. I decided that I was going to be brave and take a step back and trust a step back season, because sometimes it is hard to constantly be in other people's energy and be constantly giving and coaching and serving and trying to like scale and maintain sales, but also like go in a total trust fall season and like find yourself. You know what I mean? And so sometimes you do need a step back season. I don't think business success is just about how many sales you can make and how quick you can make them and how long you can sustain them. Because if I had followed that path, I don't think I'd still be in business. I think I would have burnt out. So sustainability is largely about joy and identity, sustainability, identity embodiment, identity expansion, room for growth in your identity, not just your offers, right? And so I started this rebrand process, and at first it was kind of like a visual rebrand. I didn't even realize how big of a shift I needed, because I knew that I needed a shift to get my business to $1 million in sales, to start to make $100,000 a year, $200,000 or $500,000 a year. Because right now my growth goal is to just hit $1 million in sales, period, which I know my business can do. But to get there, I knew I needed a shift. And so sometimes those shifts, you recognize them, and it starts out as like, I need to up-level my content, or I think I want to, create a higher ticket offer. I feel called to do more. I feel like I'm worth more. Or I feel like I need a visual rebrand. So sometimes those shifts that are calling you to your becoming of more, not just the more in your offers, not just the more sales, they're introduced in like sneaky ways. It can look like that visual rebrand, just slight up levels, and it sometimes stops there, which is where I feel like people hold back their true potential. They're too scared of too much change, right? Because you don't want to ruin it, and you don't want to slow down on your sales. And I get that you want to keep making sales and you want to sustain your business. So rebrands and pivots can be very strategically calculated, but sometimes just like saying fuck it and falling backwards into the void and just like, I'm in a trust fall season, that can be so powerful. And I think I was ready for that because I'd been in business for so many years and I had done it, and I'd seen myself like show myself, not only can I make sales and I can make high ticket sales and I can go full time and I can grow my sales and I can begin to scale things and do it organically, even, you know, like my content selling for me. But like, if I can do that, what could I do even better? Like, and I feel like sometimes it's hard to get to that space where you start to realize like, I'm actually capable of so much more. I have been living under a glass ceiling. Usually those moments don't really happen until either great love or great loss or some kind of great change happens, usually from one of those. Sometimes people go through such a hard season in their lives or their businesses or even grief that propels such self-realizations and such emotional shifts where they're like, fuck this shit, I'm ready for more. And so they're ready to become more. Or they finally feel safe enough to be all that they are. They're in a relationship for the first time, or they get married, or they're in partnership, or they're part of a community that makes them feel safe, and their values and their identity embodiments are reflected back to them, and so it makes them feel like they can expand in that space. Usually it's more from a space of like lack, loss, and change that propels more of the becoming of more. But this is such a powerful space, but it can be muted or misunderstood because oftentimes we don't recognize that it is the start of something bigger. It is something starting to build within us that isn't just an identity up level, a rebrand, a shift in your content. It's a becoming of a new chapter of you. And that's what I started to realize and started to experience a couple years ago. And so it started with that rebrand. It started with a creative expansion, realizing I'm more multi-passionate, and then starting to realize beyond that, hey, I have a more unique approach. I'm a visionary, but I also have a holistic approach. And so reclaiming my style of coaching, my approach, my methodology, and getting back to the roots of who I was and who I am and who I was becoming. And so I could not start to scale my business and start to grow my brand quicker and more magnetically until I had an identity shift. And the identity shift wasn't just in a rebrand. It came from a space of realizing that I could no longer sell or be acting from survival or even just need. I needed to start acting and building and creating from my vision, from who I am, and from where I know I'm going. When you start to make that shift, when you start to get in that perceptual space in your mind and creating and growing your business, so much changes. And that's not just whimsical coaching talk, like that's from direct experience. Since I've made what I'd like to call the powerhouse shift in my business, I feel so much more powerful. And I feel like I have a grasp over my content, my engagement, my marketing direction, and how I'm going to grow my own brand movement and offers so much more clearly and confidently than ever before, because again, I am getting out of survival mode and from people pleaser mode and from a self-perceived limiting box and glass ceiling of just being an expert or just being a personal brand creator, and really owning who I am and building identity forward. And that's why I love Personal Brand Powerhouse, my brand new course that is pre-launching and pre-selling this month, which, by the way, it is on pre-sale until this Sunday for half off. So you can check out the details in my story highlights on Instagram. All the details are there. And you can hop on the Wealthy Visionary newsletter list because I'm sharing more about it there. But this is where these shifts take place. It comes from my own journey, my own shift. And from this shift, I can tell you that I am now actually in real time experiencing growth on a different level I have never experienced before in my business. Specifically, I'd like to point out on TikTok, I don't have a bajillion followers yet, but I have been steadily and consistently growing with quality and ideal community members, ideal clients, and buyers, ready buyers who are buying directly from my content, who are hopping onto my email list, going over to my YouTube channel, who are coming now here to Instagram. One of you literally posted yesterday on TikTok and said, "Oh my God, where have you been?" And you're like, "I am joining your email list. When is your live tomorrow?" That is by no mistake. I did the work to figure out who the hell I am, what I'm good at doing, owning my power, reclaiming my vision and my direction. That is coming through my content. I'm speaking directly to you. You are here for a reason. You didn't just find me randomly. You are here for a reason. Because I am for you. I've done the mental math. I know who you are. I already know who you are. I already know what you're dealing with in your business. And all of my offers are there to transform you. You're welcome. You've arrived. Welcome to my visionary world where you will transform. You become so much more powerful, and strategy and growth becomes so much more fun and doable when you do deep self work, when you do the deep brand strategy work, the self psychological discovery, and bring that into your brand strategy. Just talking from a personal development level here, when you become self-aware and grounded in who you are, when you know yourself and you trust yourself and you feel grounded in that, can't nobody fuck with you. When you know who you are and you are grounded, you are confident, you are clear, you can make so much more decisive decisions and take action and make bolder moves and show up more consistently and actually be in the mindset of being strategic, being a builder, scaling, growth, and then optimization, because you're not constantly questioning. You're not stagnating. You're not constantly pivoting. You're not rebranding all the time. When you're constantly questioning yourself, everything's disconnected. You're out of your power. You can't be fully giving to yourself, to your clients, to your personal life. That's draining. Creating and showing up consistently in your brand is not draining. Constantly questioning yourself, second guessing yourself, and constantly feeling like you have to pivot because you don't know yourself or trust yourself, that's exhausting. That's what stagnates growth. No amount of strategy can fix you having a lack self-image and a lack mindset around what's available to you because of your self-perception. No content strategy, no pricing strategy, no business coach can motivate you enough to fix that shit. And that's where my work is really powerful. That's where my clients get really great results, because I'm not just an educator or just a mentor. I am a true coach. I literally joke to my friends, be careful when you're talking to me. You're talking to Coach Kait here. I am a coach. I love coaching people. Because I have gone through so much trauma healing and identity work and discovery myself, healing from trauma, going through therapy for 15 plus years, hiring my own coaches, the ADHD self-discovery journey, and being an entrepreneur for 10 years, I mean, that alone in itself is a whole self-development journey. So I have done the work. I have journeyed and become so much more on such a deep growth and psychological level that makes me a really great coach. And so a lot of my work is very holistic. It's here to help grow you and activate you and shoot you up to your next level through a holistic and a visionary approach. But it's also equally strategic. I give you the tools, I give you the strategies that you can take that energetic shift and plug it into something and start to take action. So we are hard workers around here. We don't play around. We are serious about our energy, but we're also serious about our money. And that's where I think things become really powerful and really effective, is when you marry the two, right? Because you can't learn without taking action, but you can't optimize or grow without self-understanding, right? So we've been talking for a while today, and there's so much more that I could say. So I do want to just encourage you again to hop on the Wealthy Visionary email newsletter list and grab that free 3-day shift mini strategy series to help you have that personal brand powerhouse identity shift in your self-perception, understanding the becoming and the embodiment, and then the strategy shifts that I break down through that 3-day series. But I just wanted to leave you with this today. I want you to understand that the biggest shift that's going to allow you to start to fulfill your full potential, become more visible on social media, and start to see yourself as a powerhouse, as a brand, as someone who can be a leader or a really big creator, or even just like building wealth and becoming wealthy, making sales, seeing yourself as something more so then you can start to attract more. You're going to have to start to challenge yourself to stop creating just out of survival or even your just immediate need. And you're going to have to challenge yourself to become something more, which can hold something more, so that you can start to create from your own vision and brand identity. So we want to get you into a space of creating from your authentic brand identity and vision, which creates your own movement, which sets you apart from the crowd, which gives you your own unique edge to sell from, and it makes your own unique offers that people resonate with, they resonate with you. But to get there, to get to those authentic magnetism factors, to get to the growth, we have to go through this identity shift zone, this transmission, if you will. And it's not like a, even so much of like a deserving thing. Like, I want you to feel like you're not worthy yet. I think you're frustrated because you know you're capable, and you feel triggered and constantly irritated and burnt out because you feel like you're not getting the results you could have. And it's not even just because you know you could get the results that you see other people getting, it's because you know you're not playing on the level that you're meant to be creating at and playing at. So deeply subconsciously, you already know you're made for more, but you are playing within a glass box right now. And I want to help break that down for you. So please remember that your bank account reflects your identity before it reflects your strategy. So you get to gift yourself a shift in your energy and your identity before you feel like you have to do a million things outside of you first, because the outside things will become so much more easier and so much more clear, and you will have the energy to put into them or get other people to do them, help do them for you, when you understand who you are, where you're going, and how you want to be leading things. Before I leave off, I'm just going to check my screen one more time for any more live questions. Okay. This was fabulous. I feel like I just went through a therapy session myself. I feel coached by my own conversations with myself. Ooh, I should hire her. I should hire me. Fun fact. This is not narcissistic. This just says that my work is quality. I usually go through my own programs. I will literally rewatch my own programs, my own trainings. I know so many people go, oh, I don't even watch my content. Oh, I can't do that. Like, I have to. I edit all my own content. But like, well, what I'm telling you comes from my direct experience. This is not some AI generated how-to. This is from experience, and that's why people work with me, and that's why people pay me thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, because of not just my experience, and I know what's going to happen at what stage and what you're going through, but because I know the shifts, because I know what it takes, because I know what it takes to start your business, to go full time, to grow it, how to survive trauma and illness and a complete rebrand and literally burning down your business and a whole identity transformation, and then coming back and social media being quite difficult and the market being different, and how to figure all that the fuck out and come back and still stay in the game and make momentum again and grow your brand and still stay relevant and having your business be sustainable and evolve with you. You cannot defeat me. I am undefeatable. I'm a visionary. You can't kill me. I am around for the long term. I love what I do. I love helping you. And I hope that you love this journey that we are on together. So, yes, next week, what are we talking about? Next week on Wednesday at 12 p.m. PST is another live coaching conversation and Q&A. So if you want to drop any questions in the comments here for the replay here on Instagram or YouTube, you can, and then I will try and address them on my next one or on Instagram stories. So pop them there, and I would love to hear from you. I'm trying to remember what we're talking about next week. I have everything planned. It's on my Instagram story highlights. So go check them out for the Powerhouse Era live activation and coaching series. So I'm going to head out, but hop on the Wealthy Visionary newsletter so we can stay tuned. We can stay tuned. We can stay connected. Yeah. Okay. You are fabulous. I love you. I hope you're doing well. And I hope we get to chat again very soon. Okay. With delusion, lip gloss, and a lot of coffee, your visionary business coach and mentor and fellow ADHD baddie, signing out. Okay, until next time, friends.